Today's podcast is brought to you by Max Digital. We created the path to purchase approach to deliver a fair, transparent, and flexible omnichannel experience and help dealers to transition to that future in the way that's right for them and their teams. And by DriveCentric, offering a simple yet powerful interface that anyone can use. Its intuitive design makes it simple for salespeople to do their job, and that's to sell. Go live with Drive. Tell Steve Ressler Dealership News sent you. And now, here's our podcast. Hello, this is Kelly Kleiman, and you're listening to the DealershipNews.com podcast, where we spotlight the who's happening in the automotive industry. It's foot soldiers, visionaries, salesmen, GMs, owners, service managers, and industry vendors alike. Our guest today is the VP of Biz Dev for one of the leading companies in the auto dealership world, geared to keeping your online rep golden. And they do a great job. Friendemic specializes in online reputation tools for many of the world's largest automotive brands, retail-level dealer groups, individual dealerships, and retail businesses nationwide. We have with us Brent Albrecht, the VP of Biz Dev. Welcome to our podcast.
Thanks, Kelly. I appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, kind of a frenetic opening, but I like it. We've been doing it forever. I see you're from Chicago.
Yep, I live in the suburbs, but yeah.
Okay, Cubs or White Sox?
Oh, Cubs for sure.
Okay.
A disappointing year this year, though.
You know, I don't know if you checked out my profile, but I'm a Chicago Cubs scout team coach.
Oh, wow. No, I didn't. That's awesome.
I'm done after this year because my kid's got a college gig, but it's been fun. So it's, I think, 5 seasons. I'm from Cleveland originally, but yeah, the Cubs were a little disappointing this year, but there's always next year.
Always next year, new manager, new players. We'll see what happens, right?
Sure. Well, I like asking each of our guests how they got into the automotive industry. What's your backstory? Did you just wake up one day and there you were setting up a booth at Digital Dealer? What's your story?
So, I actually started way back when in newspaper and worked with, a handful of auto dealers back in the day. So, for Chicago Sun-Times Group, doing newspaper ads, but really the experience, specifically, dedicated auto didn't start till about 9 years ago. I was doing marketing consulting for different clients and came upon a new client, social dealer, who was just launching a company, doing social media reputation. They needed someone to, build them a website, help them get marketing started, and lead their marketing efforts. And started out as a contract position, and we hit it off. Like, I thought their company was fascinating and just really loved everything they were doing, and that's how I got into auto, and really have been into auto and specifically social media reputation field ever since. So like I said, 9+ years now. Sure.
I know those people very well. Kelly Holcomb over at
Yep.
Social Dealer and whole crew. Now, imagine you're in an elevator and you're in that elevator with the president of GM. I need a 30-second elevator pitch. Then we're going to dig a little bit deeper, but give me 30 seconds and keep him wanting more.
Okay. Yeah. Now, and up front, I mean, we sell a little more direct to dealers than to OEMs, but the main product I'd hit them up with is, we actually track the reputation of every franchise dealer in the country. So something like 18,000 franchise dealers are in our system. And while GM might have a good handle on how all of their dealers are doing on Google, Yelp, Facebook, etc., knowing just how you're doing in a vacuum doesn't tell you a lot. What you need to know is how do they compare to Ford dealers, Toyota dealers, and everything else. And that's the data they don't have, and we do. And we can supply it in a few different formats, in data in terms of a platform and scorecards to really show them how they compare and stand up to the other brands out there.
Literally for every dealership, every new car dealership.
Yep. Yeah, we don't do it. We don't have the independents in there, but all the franchise data is in there. And so so we can say, of all the dealerships all the GM dealerships, how do they rank? And you could do it by region, by size. How do they rank to Chrysler stores, to Toyota stores, and that's the important data that most OEMs are missing right now.
Is the data updated on a monthly basis?
When we do it for our clients, we're actually pulling, updating hourly. When we do OEM type reports, generally, yeah, we'll do it at a monthly basis, and some reporting we'll do quarterly or semi-annually, analysis, depending on what that OEM is looking for.
I might have a proposition for you after we chat.
Okay, good.
I have quite an idea, actually. Well, let's talk about some of your services and explain to us how it works for an auto dealership or any business for that matter. And let's start with Reputation Accelerator.
Sure, and so that's Reputation's one of those products we've had the longest, and really it's about helping the dealer, improve their reputation by having a process in place to ask every customer, to share their feedback on one of the review sites. The reality is, if you just leave it to organic means of, let customers write reviews when they feel like it, the upset people, they're more than happy to, give you a bad review and complain. But the happy people don't necessarily do that unless they're nudged or urged along. And that's what a review invite process does, is it makes sure every customer gets asked, and you get a more balanced reputation. More detailed than that. Now it's, become not just automating a process, but helping dealers ask for reviews at the point of sale. Using a mobile app where a salesperson can, within, a matter of a few seconds, say, hey, Kelly, can I send you a link so you can share your feedback on your experience? And then you get that invite within the next couple of minutes. So those personal real-time invites are so much more impactful and deliver dramatically better results than an automated process can do by itself.
Sure. It's so much more organic. So social media chitter, I guess we could call it, in commentary, it definitely can get out of hand online, and it could hurt a business's reputation. So you have review response. Peel the banana for us on that service.
So it's responding to a few things. So responding to reviews on the public review sites, Google, Yelp, Facebook, etc. That's sort of the core. But you also want to pay attention to what's being said on social media, as you hinted, and respond to those comments and questions as well. In a perfect world, any complaint someone had, they'd submit they'd write a review or contact you directly. Sometimes they don't bother to do that. They'll just go to your Facebook page and they'll write a complaint on some non-related post. The first thing they see. And so you have to really be monitoring everything that's being said about you, like you said, on the social channels as well as the reputation channels. And the key is responding quickly to everything, make it a personalized response, but also remembering that you're not just responding for the person that wrote the review or that wrote the comment, but for everybody else who comes along later and reads this, right? And if I see that you had a 1-star review, it's not about that person. Hundreds or thousands of other people will see that 1-star review. They want to know, as a business, how do you respond? And, do you stand behind your customers and do you try to fix the problem, or do you just ignore it?
That 1-star review is not always a really accurate representation of how a company does business. We just started our vendor review series, and we've gotten a few of those. And sometimes somebody just gets upset and they just want to vent, and it's not necessarily fair. It could be a chemistry, it could be a personality conflict, who knows, but not an adequate reflection. So the question then would be, how quickly is there a response, and who levels that response? Is it staff from the dealership? Is it staff from Friendemic? How does it work?
It depends, dealer to dealer. Some dealers have the resources in-house to handle those responses themselves. If they do, I think that's great. But the key is usually it has to be a dedicated person or team that's doing those responses. Whereas a lot of times what you might see is, let's just assign it to the BDC manager, who already probably has, right, 7 things to do on a given day. And here's number 8 is respond to all these reviews. And unfortunately, what you'll see there is some weeks responses are, they're all done and they're done quickly. And then other weeks, they get close to end of month, they're really busy. All of a sudden, nothing gets responded to for a week. So you can do it in-house. You just have to have someone dedicated so they have the time and it's a priority for them to do it. And then we would just provide things like, I will, send you alerts when new reviews come in. Like I mentioned earlier, we're tracking all those review sites, and I give you a platform so you can go, what I would call like a reputation console. You could go to one place. I can see all the reviews. I can track what's been responded to, what hasn't, and to make it easier for them to manage.
Sure.
Now, a lot of dealers then would say, we don't have someone in house to do that, and then that's where Friendemic can jump in and help. Our teams will write a personal response, and we respond to every review in 24 hours, weekends, holidays, you name it.
Yeah, there's nothing worse. Well, I won't say there's nothing worse. Probably getting no response is probably the worst scenario. But I prefer the individual response as opposed to a canned one. Sometimes you see the automated responses, and those feel
definitely
really hollow. Yeah. Well, needless to say, car salesmen have had a reputation issue for some years now. I guess there's a few shady practices out there still. How does Friendemic Reputation Management Program clean up bad reviews and then prevent further ones down the road?
Yeah, it's ongoing education is, again, on really taking care of your customers, never gets old. So there's a few things. One, by having a reputation program in the dealership and, tracking the reviews and we hope that the dealers are involving employees. So you can see, here's all these great reviews coming in, but really making every employee understand that, the world is looking at these reviews, right? Prospects, that's one of the last things they do before they decide which dealership to buy from is check these reviews. So, even those salespeople who used to do questionable practices are starting to realize that, if I want people to come in and ask for me and I want walk-ins in the dealership, we need to have a good reputation. So they're starting to understand that. In terms of helping them, get rid of those bad reviews, a lot of times once a bad review is posted, there's limited things you can get to do to have it taken down. Now, sometimes it'll violate the terms and conditions. You can dispute reviews and get some of them taken down. Next step in that process is, as part of your response, encourage the customer to reach out. And a lot of times, if you can fix the customer's problems, like you said earlier, sometimes they're just having a bad day or something just set them off and they wrote this bad review. If you take care of them, a lot of times they'll change the rating or take it down. But the best thing to do is don't get the bad review in the first place. And what we do is have a system in place where asking customers to give feedback, and we qualify those people first and find out, like, if they weren't happy, if they say they wouldn't recommend this dealer, give them the opportunity right away to give private feedback. And what we've seen is, if you give someone the chance to give private feedback, they can complain as long as they want. Someone from the dealership then reaches out to that person and tries to fix that problem. Most of those people don't feel the need to go write a 1-star review on Google or Facebook because you already took care of them. They're going to Google to complain because, no one asked what they thought, and no one asked about their experience, and I have to go complain somewhere, and that's just an easy place to go. But asking for feedback early will prevent a lot of those.
Yeah. Prevention is the best policy. Prevent that bad feedback. I think we all agree with that. So you've got something called Content Fuel, and it's pretty unique in the industry. There's probably some other folks out there who touch on it a little bit, but it tickled my fancy. How does it work, and why is it effective?
When it comes to social posting, again, it's one of those things, kind of like we talked about with responding to reviews. A lot of times dealers don't have people in house that really have the time dedicated to, plan out social content, get it posted across all the sites, optimize it for, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook in the right formats. And so then you tend to job it out to agencies. The problem with agencies is they're not on site. And so what they do, they're kind of stuck with doing generic content, or you can get, OEM content delivered to you, but then again, it's the same content, across all dealers. So what we want, the best content, is local, relevant content. We need to make it easy for dealers to capture that content and share it with whoever's posting it, be it the marketing person at the dealership, someone at the group level, somebody at their agency. And that's what Content Fuel does. any person, any employee at the dealership can use the app. They can capture photos, videos, add captions. If it's a customer photo or video, it'll actually ask, did the customer give permission for this to be used? So it tracks that. And all of that content goes into a content library. And so now, again, one thing you don't want to do is just have every employee be able to post to your Facebook page if you're a dealer. You need quality control. But in this case, they're not all posting, they're all collecting. It all goes into a content library. And then if I'm the person doing the posting, I have all these videos and photos to pick from that are all local, relevant. I can pick and choose and plan out content. And that's what Content Fuel allows them to do, is it makes it very easy to collect content right from the phone, deliver it all into a central location.
Is there an SEO benefit to that content acquisition?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, now not from the acquisition itself, but once you start posting all that.
Sure.
And again, I think, we talk about reviews, your reputation is more than just your review score. And so posting happy customer photos goes a long way to add credibility to your dealership. Like, that's part of your reputation too. So there's absolutely benefit in posting, customer photos and all that kind of stuff on Facebook, et cetera. But you're right, there's an SEO value too, that all those posts, they get found. It's just more links back to you, to your brand, to your website, et cetera.
Why do you excel above the competition? We know there's some good guys out there. You got reputation.com, you've got Podium, you've got a little known but powerful player known as Social or Deals. What sets Friendemic apart from the rest?
We've been doing this a long time, which helps. Some of those are newer companies to the space, and you learn a lot by Friendemic's been around almost 10 years now. But I think the thing that's most unique, if you think about like a Podium or reputation.com, again, good reputation solutions. However, that's basically all they do. And there's video companies out there to capture videos and share them with prospects, and that's all they do. Dealers already have, you talk to a GM and they'll tell you that the 20 or 30 things he already has to log into. What he doesn't need is a reputation solution that stands alone, a video solution that stands alone, a content capture solution that stands alone. Yeah, what I mean? And our Catalyst suite has Reputation Accelerator for managing reviews. It has Video Ignition to share videos for the sales and service team, Content Fuel to capture content, all in a single app. Now, your sales team, your BDC team, they don't need to learn 3 different softwares that don't talk to each other. It's a single software that, that covers all of these bases. And that's, I think, we are, at least as I know right now, the only vendor out there that has sort of a one-stop solution that does all of these things. And again, for the price that you would normally pay for individual pieces of it, if you bought them on their own separately.
Last but not least, what does Friendemic have in store for us in 2020?
Really excited. This is a little prior to 2020. We just completely redesigned the Catalyst Suite mobile app, and it's in. Our teams are doing beta testing on it right now, so it's. I think we're like 90+% there. Looking to either later this month or early December get this launched with some of our clients. But just an all-new navigation system with new features on how dealers can capture testimonials or submit reviews right to cars.com. So really looking forward to that. The other thing we want to expand on is our what we call our do-it-yourself ads product. There's a lot of agencies out there that will manage Facebook ads for dealers, and then there's a portion of dealers that want to manage it in-house. And what they're finding is, though, it's one thing to manage Facebook ads in-house, but they don't have access to the Oracle data to do really targeting in-market buyers like they should. And a lot of times they can't create those inventory feeds to do dynamic ads. And so we're providing, again, what we think is a very unique solution where I'll provide you all the technology that you need to run Facebook ads on your own. I will give you access to Oracle data. I will create a dynamic inventory feed and update it every day so you can run dynamic catalog ads and retarget them. Give you sort of all the tools to do ads yourself. And it's just not a solution that's been launched before. We started it earlier this year and really going to expand it next year.
That's going to be another interview. That's very interesting to me, actually.
It's a fascinating product, I think. Like I said, just because no one else has done it. And the early dealers we have on it, They love it to death, and they're running campaigns like crazy.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and it's doing well. I totally agree. Well, Brent, I want to say thank you very much for joining us today on our podcast. Kelly here, dealershipnews.com. We just spoke to Brent Albrecht. He's with Friendemic. Brent, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Kelly, and appreciate you having me on.
You bet. Take care, everybody. We'll see you at the next one.